Now, after the investigation, the Democrats and Republicans in the Senate are going to be voting on perhaps the most controversial judicial appointment in modern times. So Phil Matier and I asked former San Francisco Mayor Willie Brown, what do the two sides have to win or lose when it comes to this vote?
Well, this time around, Democrats have a lot to lose. I don't believe that they're going to be able to hold on to their group of people who say they're together. I guarantee you there are going to be 3 or 4 Democrats who are going to run for the hills for re-election.
In other words, they're going to vote for confirmation.
That's more important for them because their survival may very well depend
because they're in
that.
states where the margins between Democrats and Republicans are that tight.
That is correct, and for whatever reason, profiles in courage means nothing.
Well, I think that for Republicans, there's really nothing to lose by bringing this for a full vote. Either he gets the votes and he becomes the nominee, or he goes down and it becomes a rallying cry to motivate Republicans for the midterms, kind of like how Democrats were, motivated to turn out and vote after they saw Bill Clinton get impeached. Their guy going down is a big
Melissa makes
thing.
a good point. In the bare-knuckle world of politics, is it better for the Democrats to have Kavanaugh in there and something to point at, or have him be a martyr that brings out the other side in numbers?
No, Phil, you really have got to move away from politics on this one. Kavanaugh is potentially damaging to this country from the standpoint of a Democrat, a racial minority, or a woman forever. He's going to be there for 30 years, and he is not like without brains. And he will know exactly how to twist the rules, the regulations, and he's prone to do it. You looked at him and you knew that he was the kind of guy you'd suspect first if something bad happened, and you know that he would deny it.
Well, that's nice to see you're not being too judgmental on this.
Because he looks like the kind of guy.
You know something? How much of the hearings this week were based on looks and sound?
Oh, so much of it. I mean, and that's why even for people who maybe were, skeptical of Professor Blasey-Ford's story, when she talked, they said, hey, this presentation is really important. And then when he talked, very, very similar. It seems like the appearance of those two testimonies were really impactful.
Unfortunately, if there had been no halftime, her performance would have been the subject matter of the dialogue. Halftime, they had time to regroup as Republicans, and believe me, they dumped the lady from Arizona and went back to their normal prototype, examining every aspect and giving him the opportunity to flourish. And that's what happened in this hearing.
You really have to wonder what the FBI will uncover in this week that they've been given to investigate these claims, and then what the impact will therefore be on the votes.
Well, yeah, what's the presumption here? Does the FBI have to show some sort of conclusive evidence, or if it's inconclusive, where does the vote fall is going to be a really important question. And will this report be made public is another important thing. I think people assume that we're going to be able to see it, but that's not necessarily the case when it came down to the Clinton impeachment hearing and the Ken Starr report. There's a lot of debate over what to do with it, whether to make it public. So it's not a done deal that we'll even know. And our two senators have been playing a very visible role in this process, and we're talking about Dianne Feinstein and Kamala Harris. Phil Matier and I asked former San Francisco Mayor Willie Brown, how are they doing?
Well, it's very clear that if Senator Feinstein had to do it all over again, the day that it reached her hands is the day that it would have gone to the FBI. And if she had done that, you would have had a complete errand of all the people who came out of the woodwork to say he did it to me or he did something that should cause him to be no longer qualified.
But if she had done that, she would also be in the crosshairs of people that said you violated this woman's confidentiality, which is rule number 1 in these cases. You don't violate the victim survivor's confidentiality.
You are old school. Rule number 1 no longer applies in this world of politics in Washington. Nobody respects the old rules. Everybody looks out for themselves. Dianne played the old rules, didn't look out for herself, and when Judgment Day came, it was as if she didn't have a friend anywhere in the room.
Well, she actually seemed genuinely surprised that the information got leaked when they talked about it yesterday among the senators. She said, I have no idea how this happened. I was keeping it confidential like I was supposed to, and then all of a sudden it gets out, and now she's on the...
Kamala Harris, is this launching a presidential bid?
Well, it was the wrong forum. She was good 2 weeks ago, not so good this time, because when you're last, when there's a street fight, everybody has either gotten their licks in and gone home, and you're standing there by yourself with your object. That's what happened to Kamala Harris this time.
Yeah, I have to say, I was hoping for a little more of a confrontation, a little more of a prosecutorial bent from Ms. Harris, and we didn't really see much of that.
Yeah, we were talking about this earlier. It seemed like some of her other Democratic senators were the ones to really sort of land the consequential blows in that second hearing.
Yeah, so for those of us who are waiting to the end, because she was the last person to speak, it was a bit of a disappointment, but behind the scenes, they may have divvied up questions in a way that wasn't that beneficial to her, so that may explain it.